Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's start vlog number 5. So I gotta look down here at my notes. Vlog number 5, because we did number 1, decide what you're gonna do. Number 2, make some content. Number 3, you need to organize that content. Number 4, you need to include some sort of interaction. Now, so I've already finished some of the interaction components, so we have something a little bit more to work with than we did last time. So let's now go back to that organization component. Because once you have added some sort of interaction, now you can start putting it together. Now again, I added digital interaction. There are other ways to add interaction. You could do, for example, with a particular video, you could do a guided note sheet. So if you had a note sheet with blanks for the students to fill in, that's one of the ways my coworker does it. Works really well for him. But with the group of students that I have, I wanted less paper, more one-click access. Do it. It's going to pop up when it needs to. You do it. Then it goes on, then pops up when it needs to, and then you do it, move on. Okay, so there's different ways to do that. There's also other ways to do it in such a way that you reflect upon something. So if I'm a history teacher and I'm watching some sort of clip, which, by the way, why watch hour-long documentaries? Why watch stuff in class? Those are the perfect things to take out of the classroom and have them pre-watched. Or maybe they're a station within a classroom and they go over here and watch this, but not a whole hour, just the part that they need. And then maybe that interaction component is you break it into chunks and they make a reflection at each given component. Same thing with science. Do part of an experiment, write up the report, do the interaction, then get the instructions for the next part, do the next part, write the interaction. So there's other ways to add interaction besides straight up Edpuzzle, all digital. But Edpuzzle is a great way to think about it, or a great way to do it if it's available. It can be also used in conjunction with those other components as well. So you have interaction. Let's go back to the idea of organization. So let me minimize me, put me over to the side, and let's take a look at this. Now, my district, we used to have some online books. We don't have access to those online books anymore. But I liked the idea of students being able to have access to their materials 24/7. Now, I'd already begun this flipped process, so by providing students access to all of the learning materials 24/7, it's a great way to not have excuses. My kids haven't carried a book to class all year in any of my classes, and it's not really that bad. This is what I've done. It's simply a slideshow. And in that slideshow, I kind of chose a theme, in this case, marbles, just because they're colorful and because I have lots of circle shapes, and each little shape represents something. So the little note paper, it's notes. The little orange thing that says press play, guess where you press play. The little blue thing that looks like the Delta Math logo, that is their Delta Math component, and it says exactly which one they're to do because there's not a direct link option there. Additionally, we have some online worksheets or online practice or online supplements from time to time. If you're a history teacher, if you're a science person, you put your reports here because you've already typed those reports up or they're already available from the textbook company. You simply take a picture and you store that picture on your Google Drive, and now the student can get any paper item directly off the internet, directly have it, whether they have Chromebooks or whether they have phones, whether they have computers, whether they have laptops, whatever it is, iPads, it's all there. No more lost. Can I get that worksheet? Go online. You already know where it should live. Now, for each chapter, I kind of change color just so that the kids have an easier time with saying, oh yeah, we're on the green chapter. And then I'll go another chapter and say, since I began using the Edpuzzles, I now use the Edpuzzle little logo so they know it's going to be an interaction component. Down here, again, I kind of switch colors on the words. They can see what's going on. So let's go on down. And in this chapter, let's see here, I'm using Edpuzzles in little blues. So all I have to do is make a new slide. And on that new slide, I can put whatever I want. If you're starting this from scratch, because we are flipping from scratch, it's not that bad. Let's just go to Google, and instead of marbles, I want to do, let's say cubes. My theme's going to be cubes. So I go to cubes, and I go to images, and now, here we go. Here's some cubes. I like those cubes. Maybe I can do that. The nice thing about this is I have different colors I can use for different chapters. So that works out nicely. So maybe, you know what, let's choose this as kind of our logo. Now, I want to save this image as, and then I'll save it to my Google Drive. I could do that, or I'll just straight up copy the image. And over here in my book, I can paste it right in, and I can put it down in the corner. And now it's a great little icon down there. It gives the page a sense of grounding. Oh, it's more than just a blank slide. So that's all the marbles are. They're just a little picture. Now, I would recommend for copyright purposes, find copyright-free images, which, by the way, you can easily do by going up to Tools and Usage Rights, and you can take a look at what kind of usage rights are available. And so you can use that. And even still, for attribution, it's very easy. You can attribute all the way back up at the top and put all your rights and your bibliography, etc., 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 because we want to be good digital citizens, okay? You could also easily hide the link to the copyright behind it because, again, everything on here you can hide a link behind, so every time something's clickable, it goes right to somewhere else. So it doesn't have to be visible, but it's easy to see and it's all part of it. So good digital citizenship. From there, we want to figure out, since I'm doing cubes, let's make a shape. And I don't have 3D shapes here, so I'm going to use some squares. And so for this square, I'm going to make it the orange color. Switch it over to orange. And then on top of the orange, by the way, I can also put a little, I could put a little drop. I can put a little drop shadow on it. I can even make that drop shadow a little bigger, so fancy it up a bit. And then I can put the word play across it. And so you get the idea here. You can build whatever you want pretty quickly. It doesn't have to be super fancy, but the more that you keep it consistent, the more the kids will know how to do it. So you remember, you're training people to do something. So if you're asking them to do something, make it something that they're going to do naturally. Another thing, by the way, I'll go over here to the Edpuzzle, and let's actually go back to that content. If I go play it, you'll notice I've added in about 1, 2, 3, 4 questions here. I've put them at about every minute or minute and 20 seconds. You really want to space those questions out. Now, you can put boom, 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 multiple behind each other if you really want information. But if you're really just looking to keep their attention, keep that interaction, or highlight those key components, once every minute, minute 20 seconds is a really good look. So from there, if we go to my classes and I have them here, the do assignments. All right, I've made it due. I'm going to copy this link. So I want to share the assignment, copy the link. All I have to do is put that link right here and insert it. Now, here's the other thing. You have to think like your students. So not only is this linked, if they try to hit play, Mr. Moore, it doesn't work. It's not working right. Okay, it's easy enough for me to take that same link and put it behind the word as well. Now that I have that, that's part A. So let's see here. Let's actually edit that. Play part A. Okay, play part A. And I can, of course, change it all, make it what I want. So let's, boop, there, put it in the middle. Once you've made your icons, now it simply becomes a system of cut and paste. So there's part A. Now I can play part B. And once I know part B, let's go over here and get the link for part B. And so we will go back to my classes. We will go back to BPA. I want part B, share the link, share the assignment, copy the link. And so you'll notice it doesn't really take me much time. I change the link to be the correct link. And there I go. Now, I also, these are the video components, but let's, say, hey, you had those note components. All right, so let's go get some notes. And so I'm going to go over here and I want notes. And here we go. My new note icon is this guy right here. Copy image again. Take a look at your rights. making sure you're using them correctly. And I can crop the image, not a big deal. And the nice thing is, once you have a set of images that you're using consistently, the size on them doesn't have to be particularly consistent. Now, I had 2 pages, or actually I think I had 4 pages of notes. So here we go. We got 1, 2, Control V, 3, 4, and you can line them up whichever way makes the most sense. And under each of these, I can simply go back to my Google Drive, go to Recent Documents, and I have all my notes right up here. So Part 1 Notes 1, Part 1 Notes 2. Again, simply make sure you check those sharing settings. That one is anyone can find on the internet, so I copy the link. I bring it over here, and I put it under each one. Now, I also usually tend to label what page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, but that's the idea. So I'm simply organizing. Hey, one thing I forgot, I neglected to put my label on it. So here I'm going to go grab my label and Control V, and because I'm in orange here, we'll simply move this down and grab this and make sure that we are on orange for that. There you go. Okay. So now it looks nice. And for the next one, I can change it. Control C, Control V. And now you'll notice that I can just simply change the next title on the next slide to go on to the next part. So this is just a particular way that I organize my stuff in Google Slides. The reason I like Google Slides is for the same reason I use YouTube, and that is because everything is always accessible. If they have access to the internet, they have access to this material. So we have figured out what content we're going to do. We have created some sort of content. We have organized that content. We've added interaction, and now we're putting it into a larger organizational pattern. Now we're finally ready to actually get to talking to the students, because everything about this thus far has been behind the scenes. Everything about this has been at the back of the office in essence. We're getting ready to talk with students on this. But I think what you're going to find is if you put a little work in on the head end, the classroom stuff becomes so much more awesome. So we'll go from there.